Welcome to the tourism meeting for, April 30th. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the March 5th meeting. Mr. Kenny, Mr. Vanslo, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, approved?
Oh, wait a minute.
I'm gonna move right into the action and stuff
I'm
with,
missing something.
Kate.
I'm missing my notes.
I'm missing your notes.
Give it to me.
Wing it.
I guess so. Anybody have, no? You could see it there on my desk, but I didn't. Over in the, some of the paper clippings there. Here it is. No. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll wing it.
I'll run down one.
Okay. So we have one resolution request before we get going, and, we'll have a report later on with John Daniels of LNP Media on our website. So the last time we met, we discussed, creating a contract for a digital/social media manager. We went through all of the reasons why. We were given permission to proceed with, seeking a candidate or agency. And we wrote up the specs for the RFP, went through the purchasing department. We had 5 responses, and following the submission of the responses, Julie Pacina, purchasing agent, Supervisor Merlino, Peter, and I reviewed them. It's based on a best value system, which is different than going with the low. And we unanimously, we didn't even talk to one another, we unanimously selected Trampoline Design in Glens Falls. We felt that they could give us the best value countywide. So you did get a copy of their response when we upload everything now electronically, so you've all had a chance to view that. So at this time, I would be requesting a contract, and that would start June 1, go through May 31 next year, and it has the option to renew 3 different years. Peter, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that we received 5 proposals, and Julie went through hers independently, Kate went through her 5 proposals independently, as I did myself, and we all kind of weighted them on this value-based system. A good heavy part of the grading system was the ability, show examples. Pretty much all 5 scored top-notch on that. Good chunk of it, a third of it, was what they were willing to offer us. And we all independently concluded that, Trampoline's proposal was far and away the best as far as what their content-wise, the amount of content they were giving us, the amount of attention they were giving us. So when we met, the 3 of us and then Gene in person to discuss it, we all kind of said, here's our cards, this is where we evaluated them. Clear-cut favor.
That was quick. Yes, Mr. Conover?
I don't have your budget in front of me. We're budgeted for this?
It was not in the original budget. We came up with the figure $40,000 on the best value, and we were able to, through some of our social media budget and elsewhere.
So you're gonna transfer within your budget?
Exactly.
I see, very good.
Within the budget.
And Gene,
Right.
you're good? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I'll move it.
All right, Mr. Kenny, Ms. Frazier. I'll make a comment. I'm just glad it was a good company, and we got somebody here from Glens Falls in our own county.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them were from further away, but this was unanimous. It was funny,
Yeah.
the day we all looked at it and said, let's pick this one, or that was our...
And actually, both Peter and I have worked with that agency before, so we know that it will be a good relationship.
Mr. Conover?
Yeah, just one more question or observation, and we're going to measure the success of this or this effort in what way?
Okay, so there's actually some actual numbers that we can track. So they'll be taking over our Facebook account, and we're going to track growth through that. So how many likes and followers have we picked up since they've taken over? They're going to write content articles, so they might travel up to Bolton and write a fishing article, or various parts of the county and write articles. We're going to see how well those articles do online, how many hits they have, how many reads. They're going to be creating a Twitter account for us. Same thing with Facebook. How many followers do you have? How much engagement is happening and redirecting to our sites? And Pinterest is another one we're going to do.
Just a minute, and you report that back to
We'll
the committee?
Yeah, so we will report it here. There's no baseline for us to compare against because this is the first time we're using some of these platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and these articles. But I think we can kind of gauge it. We have X amount of followers on Facebook now. If that, 2-3 months down the road, we report here that our Facebook engagement is at 0, obviously it would not be a good investment, but I expect it to grow quite a bit. I think we're in good hands, and I think we're gonna see some increase in traffic to our site.
And then there's gonna need to be some translation through, in some way, back to the value of that growth, as well, I think. So you might wanna give some thought to the growth and also the value of the growth coming back. And I would think there'd be only certain ways to measure that, but I'll leave that up to people who know a whole lot more about this.
But, we would look for your feedback as well, because this is gonna be countywide, and Peter and I are gonna have a meeting with them, obviously, after the board passes this and it becomes the contract. But we would like, they have 10 people on staff, so we'll have a variety of people, which is one of the great things we loved about their submission. So you'll be seeing somebody. We're gonna have someone go to each of your towns, and you can inform them of some things or give them a tour. We'll certainly give direction, and they'll be on their own too. But we would look for your feedback as well to say, hey, we noticed at our reenactment that we were drawing people from somewhere, Connecticut, we never had before, whatever. But I think hopefully you'll see something.
All right, but I'm not that this would be a good tool, but for example, if, a lot of times you see questions, how did you find out about us? A lot of the businesses ask those questions.
Mm-hmm.
And if we start to measure that
Mm-hmm.
they found out about us through this initiative, that would be a good
Great.
thing, right?
Would be
That would be a
grand.
wonderful
Well,
thing, yeah.
I think that's the goal. It's gonna take a little while, but I think that's the goal.
Yeah, and again, the beautiful thing about social is because everything we're gonna be doing is online, we'll be able to track, how many people saw this article, how many people read this article here, how many people watched this video they created for us, how many likes on Facebook, a lot of, pretty much anywhere that they're gonna interact, track.
So, Mr. Chairman, just a question. So, for example, if there was a spring package, for example, that a particular group of businesses put out there, so, like you do on the site, that we would be able to track that people went from this initiative to that site because they're specifically interested on looking for a package to come to our area. In other words, it would source that this would be, they would have arrived here via.
I think for the most part. So if that package is then promoted on Facebook, they promote it that way, then you would see how many people liked that package, how many people, I think shared that on certain different media. So you can see how that package was then put out into the public, and how social media migrated it. So did they share it? Did they like it? Where did the inbound links come from? So there's trackable means that way, yes.
And does it raise us in terms of the priority in the search engine?
Yeah, may I step in? From social media is probably one of the strongest areas that will help impact the analytics of the site in a positive way. Right now, our core source of content, which is what really drives the people coming to the website, is the website itself. When we start adding other avenues such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, more YouTube, etc., we're adding feeders to the site, and that will continue to increase the amount of traffic. Now when the content writers start writing relevant content with article embed links, long tags we call them, to the site, they can drive traffic directly to a property, a location, an event on the website, and we'll see that also pick up on the analytics, which allows the users then to go from a Facebook article or a Twitter tweet right to maybe an event that's taking place. And we'll see that in the analytics, and that will get the users right then to either the property location or something else. So this will immensely help all of the properties, all the lodging. When I'm looking at the analytics, which I'm going to touch on in a minute, one of the huge things we're missing is that social media component. So this is hugely timely.
Okay, yeah, and, I'll put my 2 cents in. I mean, what we've learned about all this stuff, I mentioned at the board meeting, we had gone to the Fort William Henry, had a little display on that, and it's just phenomenal how they break it all down, that when somebody leaves, they know the color of their underwear. I mean, that's how much they get out of all this stuff, so it's amazing. All right, so we got a motion on the floor, we got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's passed, we'll move along with that now.
Great.
Go ahead.
You know, it feels like we just ended our summer season, and here we are again, jumping right in. That's the crazy part about this tourism business. You know, we're always, it's Memorial Day, then it's Labor Day. But, so we've been ramping up big time in the office, and our summer television campaign actually began on Monday in, Metro New York. Other markets will pick up in about a week and a half. We're running 15 and 30-second spots. We're gonna have a map on the screen in a second of where we are. Some have interactive options, some of the markets, and others are, you know, call in or go online. That's what they're prompted to do for a travel pack. So you can see the markets we're in on the screen. Really not a surprise, similar to preceding years. And we're using the same commercial as last year, but already we have scheduled new video shoots this year to start the creation of a new commercial for next year. And then Peter can talk about that a little bit as we move on. Then we have some print ads that are running right now in May issues of some Hearst publications, which include Good Housekeeping, Women's Day, and Country Living, as well as Meredith publications of Better Homes and Garden, Family Circle, More Magazine, and Family Fun. Additionally, in May issue of AAA Car and Travel, which is New York State, and the April Great Vacations Getaways. These are all co-op ads. They're offered to us as being a member of the New York State Travel and Vacation Association. This is an example of what is in the Oprah magazine and the other counties that are included in the program. And there's other magazines here the same, or not. Some are co-ops and some are not. We've submitted images and content for some of these as well. All of these ads, though, in the co-ops have bonus online listings. Some have bonus banner ads or email blasts. And then further print ads outside of that co-op include National Geographic Traveler, AAA Club magazines of New Jersey and Massachusetts and Connecticut, Amtrak's New York by Rail, which is being passed around, and the New York Star Ledger. Each and every print ad has an online component. And the Amtrak New York by Rail is on the back. It just came out this week. The publisher was at our Empire State Tourism Conference. This is in the back pocket of all of the Amtrak cars that go up and down with the Empire service. And we submitted images and content as well as our ad to that publication. Online placement of spring and summer campaigns on guestquest.com with video, social, and digital components, escapemaker.com, meredithtravel.com, and a new digital campaign through the New York State Travel Industry Association, which we are participating in with retargeting and specific demographics. And Ad Workshop actually is the agency controlling that. We had a new free opportunity actually to run banner ads on a website called For Kids in PA, where we will appear with other New York State destinations, encouraging attractions and for travel here for attractions and destinations to New York State. So there's samples of those on the screen. And email sponsor ads we run on segmented lists now this year, as we mentioned, through the Adirondack Regional Tourism Council with their software. We are on board to advertise in spring and early summer with the themes of fishing, paddling outfitters, crafts, and heritage. We already were on the maple sugaring blast, which is on the screen.
Section right down here.
And our new software is going to be somewhat similar, by the way, more or less. These blasts typically garner us between 250 and 600 clicks or call to action. The Summer Midweek campaign has just recently launched, and we encourage lodging properties to team up with area attractions to create value-added packages. We had 21 properties join us this year: Lake George Beach Cottages, 1,000 Acres, Cornerstone B&B, the Sagamore, D.P. Dean, Fort William Henry, Contessa, Rancho Pines Campground, Melody Manor, Surfside Clarion, Lamplight Inn, Painted Pony Ranch, Fern Lodge, Alpine Lodge, Antigua, Wingate, Ramada, Glens Falls, Adirondack Pines, Landon Hill B&B, Scotty Motel, and Inn on the Hill. Thanks to all of them. Our list is has grown from last year. And some of the attractions they partnered with, I think would like to mention Bob's Fishing Charters, Jeff's Fishing Charters, our lake cruises on our big boats, mini golf, Hoppy Trails Brew Bus, the Fun Spot, Six Flags, and rafting on the Hudson. So the campaign includes a promotional feature image on our homepage, and that would be a button for the midweek, a feature in the rotation, which will have a live link to the listings. And they'll be highlighted on our May 6th e-blast. This has been posted on our Facebook, Supervisor Conover. So when we think about that, if someone sees it on the Facebook and they click through to it and maybe they book a package, like kind of a live link to the property, we would hope the property would say, how did you find us? And then they might say, oh, you know, Warren County's Facebook. So there is that trickle down. In all properties.
I have a question. On the New York Rails, I noticed that we have at least 3 seasons in our ad. Is that because that publication is for the entire year? It's not put out monthly?
It is,
Okay,
an
I see.
annual. So all the properties in this campaign have an image and a live link to their website. Tanya and I just returned yesterday afternoon from the Empire State Tourism Conference. We were in Albany Monday through Wednesday. The theme of the conference was a targeted traveler. Various sessions we attended some together and some apart because they offered so much, but some included targeted traveler, agritourism and craft beverage surge. A panel of experts, including our Greg Chenise from the ARCC was on that, and Gabe Sutton of Hoppy Trails. And a lot of my counterparts were so loving that Hoppy Trails brew bus in our area, that it's a great value for us to move people around the county. And he was, you know, just barraged with questions. We also had Watchable Wildlife, Bike Spring Business, and I Love New York did a year in review session. History Cells by the New York Museum Association was another session. And how to incorporate railroad stations into your tourism infrastructure. It's super interesting. The targeted travelers were women, which we know are our market, and the LGBT segment. My question, Supervisor Molina, on what this stood for earlier. And I Love New York actually just recently produced their first LGBT vacation planning piece. We could pass that around. And simultaneously to the event, however, Monday was Adirondack Day, the 3rd annual Adirondack Day. I don't know if any of you went. Generally, Supervisor Monroe goes at the Legislative Office Building, and various Adirondack institutions, businesses, and agencies are there to raise awareness about the Adirondacks. And a section of the space is transformed into a mini Adirondack Park. It's very, very cool. Senator Little and Assemblyman Steck worked very, very hard among other regional legislators to put this together and bring that awareness to their counterparts. The event ends with the Taste of the Adirondacks, which features local food and drink samples from several Adirondack eateries and craft beverage producers. Last month, our Adirondack region meeting included Gavin Landry, the Executive Director of Empire State Development, Division of Tourism, and Richard Newman, who I'd never met, the Executive Vice President of State Marketing and Strategy. They joined us for our meeting, and each of us tourism directors of the region had the opportunity to introduce ourselves and give a brief marketing plan about our plans, so they got to understand us a little better. And then they had some takeaways to go back with and what they learned from us. And the biggest really was, and it's kind of obvious to us, but that Canada is our biggest international market. I mean, the state now is moving into an office in Australia. We have 3 in China. We encourage international travel, but Canada and people coming in through Montreal is so big for us, and we really enforce that, and they want to see what they can do to assist us further. And now we were the first meeting. They'll go to all the vacation regions in the state. And tomorrow, Tanya and I leave in the afternoon to go to Brooklyn to the one-day Escape Maker Food and Travel Show, which is Saturday. We'll have the opportunity to market our locally grown and produced products of the county. We went through, this is hosted by Amtrak, Taste New York, and others. And we had the opportunity to ask one of our local producers to join us. They'll be in the farmer's market area, and we said whoever responds first can go. And it's Bark Eater Chocolates. We're so thrilled. They can go and they can sell their candy. And they expect about 3,500 people to attend, so it's a great opportunity for them. We look forward to having them with us. Public relations reports from Joanne for March and April are in your packets, and I hope you'll read them. She works really diligently to get us some great exposure. Some things are listed on the screen, but you'll read more. And our properties are coming in. They're faxing their orders right now to come pick up we call it pick up your stuff for your guests. Our events, brochures, our Adirondack hike fishing waterways. The daily properties are coming in. We always ask them, how's your summer looking? And it's just crazy that it's happening already. So next month, we're going to show you some new creative that we have been working on for interior rail cars for the New Jersey Rail Transit. We usually do the posters on the platforms, but this year we're going to be throughout their system with interior cards that are really great. Peter has designed. And Ron Ofner from our Adirondack Regional Tourism Council, I think, may join us as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions for Kate so far? We'll move along.
Glad I had my notes. Thanks, Pam.
You got your notes, Sam?
I do.
Okay, you're next.
I'm just gonna do a short report. I believe, we have a sample of the group loop, which is actually going out today. This is gonna be distributed to about 3,300, group tour, recipients. This month I did a little more interactive map. I'm finding that when I'm out at shows, a lot of people are asking about regional itineraries, you know, what they can do in Lake George and then maybe branch out and go out into the Adirondacks and do some things. So you can see the map kind of highlights not only Lake George, but also things that are, you know, within a couple hours distance. People can, you know, have a hotel in Lake George and then maybe do a day trip out to, you know, Adirondack Museum, Tupper Lakes, Wild Center, things like that. So other features, always have something that's like what's new. So we featured the Adirondack Wine and Food Festival, and we also did a call to action on the upcoming FAM tour that I'll give you an update on next. Again, this will be the second annual Warren and Saratoga County FAM tour that we're doing. We did, I think I passed around the save the date invitation. That's going out electronically. We're not really mailing them out this year, unless I'm at a show. I can give the invitation directly to a tour operator. But we do expect to surpass our numbers this year. We're hoping we'll have more than 75 operators this year, and we'll have a good international component with the FAM as well. So a lot of things are being finalized with the FAM. At one point, we were kind of still getting our host hotels together. We did have some interest in having our host hotels in the village of Lake George, so that they could do some on their own activities when we weren't scheduled for activities. So we have the Wingate, the Lake George Econo Lodge, and the Georgian Resort as our hosts. So that's great. We've also set up a contract with the Lake George Steamboat Company to do a little icebreaker reception. It's optional, but we're hoping that will encourage tour operators to come in on Sunday, because it is an official event. It will also give you know, Warren County partners that aren't physically on the itinerary an opportunity to come on the boat and network with the tour operators. Kind of getting our itinerary in place. The first day is going to be all about the Lake George area. The second day will be about Saratoga. And then the third day will encompass the Travel Expo down in Saratoga. But some of the places we're going to visit, let's see. We're going to do Prospect Mountain Memorial Highway by request. We had a lot of operators that wanted to see that. Then we're going to head up to Bolton Landing. We're going to do Adirondack Extreme Adventure Course. We're going to do a little tour of the Sagamore. Then we're going to head to Lake Luzerne. We're going to make a stop at Painted Pony. We're going to explore Main Street. Again, have a lunch at Upriver Cafe because that was great. Did a great job and the operators loved it. Then we are going to depart for a little Queensberry. We'll do the Davidson Brothers Brewery reception at the Fort William Henry Resort, where they will have the museum open. They'll have some reenactors. So a lot of engaging activities for the tour operators. And then again, like I said, the last day is another opportunity for any Warren County you know, businesses that didn't get physically on the itinerary, they could, exhibit at the Travel Expo, so that's another great opportunity. And, yeah, that's about it for the FAM tour, I would say. But again, FAM tours are becoming what I've been working on lately. I Love New York is doing a lot of them. Kate had mentioned that the international is becoming very big with I Love New York. They do have a division that's dedicated just to international travelers. Then they reach out to the tourism regions to help them with those FAMs. They'll get the participants, and then we help work an itinerary. So I have two that are coming up. One is UK Cyclists. We're gonna host 8 either journalists or UK tour operators that are looking for specific cycling offerings to couple with attractions, lodging, dining, so that they can go back to their offices and promote Warren County opportunities. So that's going to happen May 20th through the 28th. Specifically, they'll be in our area on the 21st and 22nd. They're going to stay over at the Wingate. They're going to come from the feeder canal. They're going to travel the Warren County Bike Trail into the village. They're going to have a dinner and tour of Davidson's Adirondack Pub and Brewery. They're going to do Prospect Mountain in the morning, and then by request, they wanted to all go-karting. I guess that was something that they just thought Lake George was all about, and they're going to do that before they go down to Saratoga County. I think Kate had mentioned also that an Australia office has been opened by I Love New York, so they are doing a FAM, but they're also offering, this is I Love New York, a workshop, which will be down in Albany in May. So I did put out an opportunity for any of the Warren County partners that wanted to learn about the Australian market. They could attend the workshop. I will go down. I'll not only do the workshop, but I'm also going to conduct some appointments on behalf of the region. So I'll get to sit down with 14 to 20 Australian-based tour operators and, you know, just let them know what the region has to offer their clients. Shows. I did go to Yankee Trails in April. Great. We had actually some great Warren County partners there. We had Lake George Steamboat Company and the Georgian, Racket Lake Navigation, who does promote our area as well up in Racket Lake. Probably about 250 packets were given away, so I always have good response at that show. So there's just some images there. And then lastly, I think Peter just has some ads that I've run, specifically Group Tour magazine, and they had a history and heritage component on that one, and Groups Today magazine, and also just a feature that we got, I'll just pass around, in Student Group Tour magazine. So any of those print magazines always have an additional online component to them as well. Oh, and lastly, Jean and I attended Council of Chambers, which was held in Luzerne at Upriver Cafe. It was great. I would say the most important and exciting things that came out of that meeting were probably this new map that was produced by the planning department, specifically Pam Moran. It just encompasses, you know, it's a map of from Lake Tierra, the Clouds, to Albany, all along the Hudson River, things that you can do, attractions and things like that, so I'll pass that. And Pam actually got a nice write-up from the Troy Record on that as well. So she'll be distributing those on behalf of the planning department. And also, I thought this was great. Saratoga North Creek Railroad, and I don't know if this came through your office, Jean, has hired, I guess the town of Lake Luzerne has hired an escort or a step-on guide.
Right.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's going to be a step-on guide for 3 months. She'll be in Saratoga, and she'll greet the people that get on the train going north, and you know, just point out things along the way if people want to get off the train. This is a
She'll
program.
distribute that map.
Yeah.
is
It's
one.
a program worked through the First Wilderness Corridor, and we're promoting it. So that should help somebody on a train walking back and forth talking to people as the train is moving north and south, of course, but mostly north, because that's where it's going to start off. So we hope it promotes the people, lets them know as they go along what's on your left, what's on your right, and this town is here, this town is there, and what might be going on in that town if they wanted to get off and explore it. So it's a trial, and I think. Huh?
Well, not only is it...
No, well, because what we're trying to do is, and for instance, there's one that town of Lake Luzerne's doing on July 25th. We're pushing it for veterans, and we got them a $10 ticket, and they'll get off at the Hattie Luzerne station and stay 4 hours, and we'll have, buses and stuff to move them around the town, show them historical sites, and then because we also have our history day that day in Lake Luzerne, and Wranglers and, with the rodeo, so combining it all together, we're gonna have a hobo, lunch and park, and then we're gonna bring them back to the train and go back, so those are the things that we're hoping that
The
we can start
exciting
doing.
part, I think, is that they'll be able to see what's happening along the corridor, the rail corridor, they'll be able to buy into that opportunity when they buy the tickets. And then the Step-On Guide will be the liaison on the train to connect them to, okay, well, I've got 5 that are gonna go whitewater rafting. I've got 2 that are gonna go to Jean's event, and the idea is that each one of those towns and communities can then in turn promote
Right.
an event that will be listed on the website, and just, I think a better use of the rail corridor. Get people on and off.
And yours as well, I mean, trying to get people from Lake George to Thurman,
To
for that
Thurman.
connection, that is a big, project that Kristen and I was working on.
So we hope to get a little bit more with the train this year than we've ever had. And it's working. We've been having a lot of meetings with the train people, and we'll see how it goes. We gotta get the freight going for them, and that'll help the tourism end of it, to keep their trains running, so, but we all know about that.
Chairman, thank you. I don't see the Lake George Chamber here, today.
Well, I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay, very good, thank you. Well, I think it's very important that, we're making a sizable investment there, including upgrading internet site, et cetera, and I think.
Yeah, I have that, to let you know why.
Very good.
All right, Tanya, finished?
Yep.
All right, any questions, Tanya? All right, we'll move along. Peter, creative.
All right, so it is, these are our last 2 blasts that we ran. Had 2 contests, one particular for whitewater and one for camping. And these are the last 2 blasts that will be sent out on our old system. Starting in May, we will be using our new system, which I'll get into in a second. But these are listed about $130,000. Again, with these particular things, they're going to people that are interested in kind of outdoor rec type stuff. We had 10,000, almost 11,000 opens on the March one, and nearly 2,000 clicks. And in April, we had about 10,000 opens and close to 2,000 clicks there as well. Our new software, this is what we talked about a while ago and was approved, and we are now at the point where we've uploaded our list. We're using this Benchmark email program, which will give us better stat reporting. Like they were saying before, we can tell exactly who's opening our emails, what round Conover's clicking. We'll see that you click fishing, but you're not clicking shopping, and we know that you're clicking shopping and not. So we can start building some lists and segmenting our users, and a lot of good stuff available. So we're happy to get the ball rolling on this actually for our May 6th blast, and start working on the new features as we get more in depth with this program. One thing also with that is we now have reduced, it eliminated the size limit. So before we were contained to that, all our blasts always looked like this because they could only fit into a certain size. That no longer is the case now. We can, if we want them to run on, indefinitely, we can nearly do that. So that allows us to pick up some more advertisers, which was important because before we were limited to 3, and some people had gotten shut out of those, and now we're doing an outreach effort to say to them, hey, look we have migrated, and we can now include you. If you want to be included in this, let us know.
Those few that did get rejected, they'll be the first ones to be able to join in.
Absolutely.
We're gonna adjust the rate as well.
We have talked to one in particular, I have personally, and they were happy to know that the county was doing that. This is pretty neat. The Fund for Lake George requested video for a special Earth Day multimedia presentation in New York City. They were kind of going through our site and checking out some of our video, using YouTube, and they said, hey, look, you guys have a few years worth of video here, and we like some of the shots. So they gave us a call, and they went right for our YouTube account and said, hey, we like this section from this video, we like this section from this video, we have a fishing video that we want this section. Said, all right, bring a drive in, and we ended up loading it up with 500 gigabytes worth of video, a lot of files, and in short notice, They were pressed for time, and they couldn't thank us enough to how we were able to help them with our footage. So I know we talked in the past a lot about, is our stuff accessible to the general public? And we are always working on making it better and streamlining it. So this is a good example of, yes, they were in a pinch. They wanted some files, a lot of heavy files, and we were able to make that happen. And we're going to continue to get better at that. Speaking of videos and the Hoppy Trails and our new summer commercial, we are focusing a good deal of effort this year to capture new summer videos. So we have 2 video shoots planned, one in late May, that's going to focus around this brew trail. And we're going to hop on this bus and go around to a lot of craft beverage places. And we're going to double up on that and create, a lot of these places offer dining, so we'll get some dining shots of this and some scenic shots. So we're going to focus on this, and I'll create a little mini video about this Hoppy Trails, and I'll show you where that's going to be important in the future. We're also going to be doing, in the summer, a parasailing and lake video, swimming, boating, etc., and that'll be the basis for our new 2016 summer TV commercial. But this one's scheduled for May. I'm pretty happy about it. And here's why. Our new video homepage has launched, and we're going to switch over here to musiclikegeorge.com.
Yeah, for a second, the Hoppy Trails also is important because the ARCC and the Craft Beverage Map did apply for a consolidating funding application, and this is one way we were able to partner with them too, is by doing the video and allowing them to utilize the footage as well.
Okay, so our new site launched, and the first thing you'll notice is this is very similar to what it was before, but with those banner ads that you'd seen Kate talk about earlier, let me pause it on them. The first thing a user is going to see if they see that ad on the site and they click it is this. Keep going back here. That graphic that's going to say, hey, look, you came here for the travel pack. It's the first and foremost thing you see. Also on this rotation are a couple different things. Our contest, and then 2 top 10 events. I don't know if you guys recall, but maybe 6 months ago there was an initiative to promote our top 10 events that we sponsored. We want a big presence on our homepage, and we have that now. It's been, I think, no, it's been a year because we've collected all of the 10 events throughout the year. So Whitewater Derby and the Elvis Fest were the last 2 to be promoted just based on how the schedule happened, and they are both up now. Also on the site, we've redone these boxes so that they fit better on mobile and have a bigger graphic so you can look at. But here's your top 10 events here. So now there's a button dedicated to these top 10 events that when a consumer clicks that, they see this. This is kind of bare bones right now because it just launched this week, but we'll start elaborating on this further. And as they click these events, they will get to the page which has the event image rotation, the video on the event, and all of these events have various components to them. So videos, images, testimonials, descriptions of the event. So as a starting point, I think we're really set for this, and we'll continue to elaborate on these and build these out throughout the year. So this marks the point where we are now full swing. We've done every single event. Also on this homepage, you'll notice that this is we have included video here. This video, we've had video on our homepage in the past, but it can never be changed in-house. We always had to send a work order request to L&P. Now we've built the site so that we can change this video. So when I talk about things like this Hoppy Trail tour that we're going to be doing, and we create this little micro video, we can use that on Facebook. We can also embed it here for a short little promotion stint. This social media contract is all starting to tie in together. So if they go to an event and they do video and create a little event promotion video about how the event was a great success, we can put that on here. So we have a lot more leeway to promote things, and just we're nimble. We've organized our events here so that we can include more events. I think we had 5, now we have 7, and we also have this big feature button to push some content that we think is important. Right now we're promoting the factory outlets, and that'll change as needed. Here's our new footer. So we have our What's New Tandy talked about. People always want to know what's new. And now no matter what page you're on the site, let's say, hey, I want to know how to get here. You're going to see at the bottom that getting here is always on every single page, so no matter what part, how deep you are on our site, you can always find out how to get here. Whether you're coming from Canada or not, you can find out how to get here. And we always know what's new. Well, I've been here before, what's new? And like I said, this just launched, so we're kind of creating the function of it, and we'll elaborate this further out as we get going here. But this is all the new list maintained by Tanya. She does a great job with this, and links to the various sites, whether it's a brand new facility or a facility that's offering a new service. It's on here. So that's been our big web initiative. Now, and I'll turn it over to John Daniels in a little bit, but we have our homepage situated where we want it. We have our social media contract in place. So we're going to start, one more thing. With the social media contract in place, Facebook now is embedded on our site. So you won't see this in mobile because we strip it down, but now on our homepage you can see if Joanne posts something 2 minutes ago, it'll be right up here. So we've integrated social media right into the forefront of our site, and as they develop more stories and featured articles, that contract will start populating this stuff even more so. And next step is to get inside the site. So now we're doing a heavy focus on lodging and embellishing the lodging. So we're talking about what does the consumer want to see? Well, they probably want to see pictures of the lodging, inside, outside. We're working with IT, and Jeremy has done a fantastic job bringing our systems up to date. So we're going to start working on a way that we can populate images in there, maybe even develop a front end so that a hotelier can get onto our site and without much tech knowledge, they can go through an easy step-by-step system to upload images, or we talked about possibly doing some price ranges and stuff like that. So that is our next big project, and we're going to start that nearly immediately. Any questions before I turn it over to John?
All right. Well, Peter touched on a lot of what we've been doing in the last, probably since the end of December on through. Just to touch on the stats and how things have maintained and continued. From about January to yesterday, we're at about 112,000 visits total. About 10,000 of them have gone to lodging, a large number to the outlets, to do. Probably half are to other pages. If you go to the top menu, one of the things that changed in the new design is we've got a very robust top menu now with a lot of drop-downs that can get people very expeditiously to other pages within the site. So there's not a lot of hunting and clicking as it could be in some sites. Events, of course, is one of the top areas. We touched on mobile. With the new design that launched in January, and then the subsequent tweaks to it that took place just here in April, the site is fully mobile responsive, where it was not before. It was, I'll call it quasi-mobile responsive, where some of the search areas did not necessarily work properly in a mobile device. The site is now fully mobile responsive for tablets, Androids, iOS phones, Apple phones. So no matter what the size is, it will work.
This isn't a complete example of it, but if we take this screen here and you see how it's laid out, if I start collapsing this down, you're going to start to see information reorganize itself and stack, right? So as the screen shrinks down, this top section has condensed, and now you just see this video, events get bumped down, and as we continue to scale it down, you'll see things get shifted around. So that's very important.
Even the menus change at that point.
Yep, so now if I go back up to the top here, we have, you'll see that this navigation menu reaches a point where it just switches over to a phone menu, right? So that change happened, and now it functions like that. So it's pretty in-depth as far as converting it and making it work across nearly all devices.
Mr. Carr?
Yeah, now will the top 10 events be by month, by season? They would change, of course. For example, the top 10 events in April or March might include some of the Maple festivals and those kinds of things, whereas the top 10 events in July might...
The top 10 events initiative, as we developed it, was based around over the scope of the year. What are our top 10 major events? Now, something like a Americade, these bikers don't just stop thinking about Mary-Kate after the event happens, and they don't start thinking about it right, 2 weeks before the event. These are year-round things that they're a part of. So this top 10 event was, I think, we were given 10 events that were, we thought were the biggest ones throughout the year, and we sent out requests to them in particular for information. So like the Balloon Festival, that's a perennial powerhouse event that people know this area for. Mary-Kate, Elvis Festival, things like that. So these, I think, were, where did the exact source of these come from? I think it was.
Well, we identified some of them in the committee based on your survey, actually, that you do, and then in order to make it more rounded out as a year-round, I brought in the Whitewater Derby, and a few others, just to make the top 10. But for what you are saying, there's another spot on the homepage that always has, like, the current events going on that are listed. So that's when you'll start to see, is Maple Time right there. You'll see right now what's happening.
Yep, so this is always populated with your next.
So
Or you could
that's
take it on-
dynamic content that's
Yeah.
always changing. The top 10 events are also manageable through the content management system. One of the things that also changed in this update to the website is there's a lot more areas that are completely driven by the content management system, so that the team in tourism can go in and tweak and change things without contacting anyone. To Peter's point, the site is far more nimble than it was in the past.
All right, any other questions? Thank
You
you.
have more, John, and
No, actually, the only other piece I had was, speaking of international, the way we're tracking right now is, USA, of course, is about 55 to 60%, with New York City and the tri-state area being top. Canada, UK, Germany, and Brazil are our international family that are visiting us. Peter touched on what the upcoming projects are, so we're good.
My only comment going forward, not today, but some of the data would be good to have a baseline or a comparable. So, for example, you said you had 10,000 hits on something that you've done that is based on, that's comparable to, so I have a sense of, is that a good number, not a good number, a growing number. 125,000 people come to the site, I assume that's a good number for almost anything, but
Just gonna talk about
how does that compare with what, same time last year?
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think if you look over, it's always tough comparing stats right now, compared to last year, because a few things hit differently. We're tracking well with what we did last year so far. But we have yet to run a couple blasts, and we have not hit our busy period yet. So we think, year over year, our page views have grown considerably. I don't know the exact numbers, but I can get them for you. But, always looking to do that, improve it. I want bigger page views, I want more page views. We're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff to tidy up our stats so they're a little bit better. So, for instance, there's a stat called, time on page. Peter Gerard goes to the site, how long does he stay on this page? That can get skewed because of the way that our site is set up right now with the database. That's what we're working to tidy up. So if
I couldn't go through
if I'm on the site and I like this camping contest and I want to sign up for it, I'm technically still on county property and I'm still interested in the county, but this counts as a piece left the page because we've gone over to the county side to sign up for this contest. So after I finish the contest, it'll send me back to the page, and then that's kind of little things like that. We're tidying up the stat tracking system so that we can actually really hone in on the stats and we know that they're active. I'm on a tangent there, I'm sorry.
it was good.
The thing that will help immensely also, as we touched on a moment ago, is the social media, and then taking a look at the overall campaign activities from traditional media like TV, radio, print, the magazines, all those things, the trains, when are they running, how are they running, what are they driving to, and then how is that social media working, and then putting that all together in kind of a reporting package to say, okay, this is what the stats are doing. How are the visits impacted from the advertising and the other things? Because just because you build it doesn't mean they will come. So and then once they're there, what are they doing? So I think that's kind of what you're looking for is that overarching, okay, when I get somebody to the site, what are they doing?
Right, not only the internet site, but also our print advertising. Take on an ad in the travel magazine, let's say it costs whatever it costs, you know, well, what's the, was that a good investment? Do we have an evaluation of that? Do we have a baseline? Do we have some way of tracking it? Some of the stuff's not so easily tracked, that I understand. Some of it's,
Yeah,
but
but
some
we
of it.
do, because
But
we
some
code-
of it is,
we code
and
everything,
so, you know, that,
tabulate everything.
if we go back the next year, for example, and take out the ad again, well, we've done,
Yeah.
you know, we do that, you know, for good reason.
Based on that, correct. One of the reasons, yes.
I think this first year, getting this social contract under us for 1 year gives us that baseline of how many likes did we get, how did our list grow on Facebook, how did our list grow on Twitter, Instagram, how did these articles pan out? So we're gonna definitely see some growth, there's gonna be some interest, but then we'll say, well, we at least have a baseline to say, all right, next year, we wanna improve here.
Sound like if Tanya, for example, has group tours, and she's taken on has an advertising initiative for group tours, do we want to also incorporate all of that into this site, into our internet site, so there's a section on group tours and whatever it is that we're promoting or proposing, so that a lot of that effort finds
Yeah,
its way.
There
there's
is.
a substantial group section, can you
Yeah,
get there?
sure, so, are you interested in a meeting or event, or are you on a bus? 'Cause I can go either way. We've separated it into bus groups, which she feels is a very particular niche.
Yeah, click on that, I just wanna see it just for a second.
So in
So
here,
what's the left nav is,
you have your group attractions, group dining, group lodging. This whole section of the site caters to anything that, we feel a motor coach person.
And you would know in some fashion how many numbers or whatever clicked on that site. In other words, that Tanya said,
Yeah, you can get page
last
ranking.
year, how many people clicked on the group tour site, you could produce that number.
Yes.
Oh, that's excellent.
And meetings and events. And again, this year, a big focus, has been to work with L&T and set the foundation for our site. So we've been doing a huge overhaul, a lot of components to it. We've been bringing our database up to speed. That's where all of our property management records are kept and how this site is populated, right? So that hasn't been touched in, before I got here, 7, 8 years. So rebuilding that, IT's done a great job for us. And then from there, rebuilding the feed with L&T. So they're on that step. And once this foundation is set up, then we'll be on track to do all the things that you really want to do. We've done a good job now with tracking things, but that'll help us better track things, more accurately track things. And,
It's gonna help us maximize our investments, that's where I'm.
Yeah.
that's key.
right.
The best way to put it.
All right,
And one last thing, only because we had that meeting at the Fort William Henry,
Fred's
Sam, who's very articulate, very smart guy. And he brought up something that's very important, reputation management. What are people saying about the Lake George area? What aren't they saying about the Lake George area? All over the web, people can be talking about Lake George on different forums, different venues, right? And that's all part of reputation management. If someone needs to go there, find out what they're saying, good or bad. They had a bad experience here. Well, someone needs to follow up on that. Why did you have a bad experience? Could we help you to have a better experience? Someone says something good about it. Well, that's fantastic. We're glad you endorse the area. We got to engage with them. He was very adamant about that, right? We are too. That's part of the social media contract that we have right now. Reputation management is in there. So what happens is there's these platforms, like a little software package that will tell you, you enter keywords, Lake George popped up here, or Lake George Adirondacks popped up here in this forum. And part of the social media contract is to go in there and say, hey, Ron Conover is saying he had a great time fishing in Lake George. And we engage with you on your terms now. We're in your place saying, Ron, thank you for fishing in the area. You got to check out this new fishing tournament we have. Things like that. So this social media contract is going to be big. I think it's going to appease a lot of the things that we want to have and move us to where we want to be. This is a really neat opportunity and a good step to go.
all right, thank you, Peter. Back to, the sales, Christina. She's not well, she's on a medical leave right now. We've known about it a couple of weeks. and, Mike is taking her spots at a couple of places, destinations for conferences that he had to go to, that's why he's here. But Christina did email us the message this morning at 9:44, but we really didn't have time to print it all out, but we'll get you out what she's,
Well, she said she sends them to you electronically anyway.
Right.
She'll get March and April, so,
yeah,
but that
March
would
and April,
suffice.
so, but she's not well, and we're hoping she gets better. All right, privilege of the floor, anybody? Yes?
I've got something, just wanted to toss it out there. Last week I got an email from Amazon, you know, lots of people use Amazon, and I'm among them apparently. Amazon is rolling out a new thing called Amazon Destinations. So I clicked on it because I thought, well, I'm on the tourism committee, why not? One of the first things that popped up was, you know, it pops up and it focuses kind of on local getaways in your region within, probably driving 2 or 3 hours. The Adirondacks was number 2, and I clicked on it, and the most fascinating thing was the only local establishment was a hotel in Johnsburg. We don't have any Lake George stuff on there,
Well, let's get
but
it.
we've got Johnsburg. So I just wanted to say that it's out there. They do mention Gore Mountain right on the front
Amazon destination.
thing. So apparently that's something new Amazon's gonna tap into, and that's a big market.
Oh,
And if,
yeah.
they've got, when you go into the site further, they start recommending places to eat, places to stay, events and things that are going around. And if there's some way we could tap in on that, Amazon is a big seller. They've got a lot of people, and maybe we can somehow join that into our
Really
tourism efforts.
populate it, We'll look into that.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank you. That's
you.
all I've got.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right. Motion to, oh wait, you got one resolution request?
No, we did, that was just the attachment.
Oh, that was back at top, okay. Motion adjourned? Everybody?